choices that we make live with us forever. Been home for 4 years and still trying to get it together. Imagine waking up late nights and cold sweats because you haven't repented for some of your old steps. Yeah.
All praise to the Most High. Israelites, School of Kings and Priests. I'm Brother Yesharon.
Brother Or Eber.
Alright, and we're coming at you with another video. This video is going to be titled, Why Do We Complain When the Most High Punishes Us? Why do we complain when the Most High punishes us? You got something to say on that?
So yeah, we're going to get into the scriptures today. Just going through why are we complaining, and then how to solve the problem and not be like our ancestors in the wilderness, taking our problems to Yah and allowing Him to fix them.
Yeah, taking our problems to the Most High God. That's like in Matthew 18. Anytime you have a problem with someone, you're supposed to take it to that person. Like in this world, Matthew 18 said if we have a problem with another brother, we're supposed to take it to that brother, one-on-one. So if you have a problem with anything that's going on with the Most High, we're supposed to take it to Him in prayer and seek His word in prayer. So we're gonna go ahead.
And real quick too, we also know that with us being in sin, anything that keeps us in sin keeps us and separates us from the Most High. So as we know, tail-bearing, backbiting, that's all a sin. So if you have an issue with the situations that Yah is putting you through, and you're going and you're talking to someone else about Yah and what He's putting you through, then you're committing sin, which is you separating yourself from Yah.
Yes,
so you have to make sure that whatever problems you got that you're going through, if you have an issue with what Yah is putting you through, allowing you to go through, go to talk to Him about it, don't go talk to anyone else. Or you'll be in sin, which means you'll be separating yourself from Him.
That's right. All right, so we're going to start off with John 8:32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. All right, we know the truth is the law. The only thing that's going to make us free is the law. What's his name? Martin Luther King couldn't make us free. America can't make you free because they never put you in this captivity. According to Baruch 3:8, the Most High God put us in captivity even to this day. Yet this day in captivity. So we're going to start with Lamentations 3:39.
Lamentations 3:39. All right, the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 39. Wherefore do a living man complain, a man for the punishment of his sins?
Boom. So the Bible says, why does a man complain for the punishment of his sins? Keep going.
Let us search and try our ways and turn again into Yah.
So instead of complaining, what we need to do is examine ourselves and turn our ways, which means come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. 2 Corinthians 13:5 says, examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith, prove your own self, know ye not your own selves, because nobody knows you better than you. You know what you do in the dark when nobody's watching. The Most High God is always watching. So we can fool man, but we can't fool the Father. So examine yourself. Try yourselves and match match what you're doing against these scriptures and see if you're walking in this faith. They say examine yourself whether ye be in the faith, which means see if you're walking in this truth or walking in this life. Not your own selves, how that Christ is in you, except ye be reprobates. Right? Christ is in all of us, except if you're a reprobate. And the definition of reprobate is an unprincipled person or someone that's predestined to damnation.
And also going back to, doing what you need to do even in the darkness. Even when no one's around, you may think no one's watching you, but in the wilderness, especially in like the book of Deuteronomy, Yah told the children of Israel, choose this day if you're going to have life or death. And as the witnesses against them, He witnessed heaven and earth. So while you're thinking, oh, my brothers may not see me, no one may not see me, whatever it is, my wife may not see me, my husband, my children, my friends, heaven and earth are always witnessed against you. And that's important because as we live, we have what we call laws of nature or Torah. So if you aren't doing what you're supposed to do and Yah calls heaven and earth to witness against you, that's planting that seed. So whatever seed that you plant is a harvest that you're going to reap. So if you aren't doing what you're supposed to do, your harvests are going to be reaped in that way. So whatever you're putting out there, whether it be in the dark or don't be in the dark, that's what you're going to get back. So don't think just because another man or another woman doesn't see it that you're getting away with it. No, whatever we want to call it, whether it be karma, whether it be reaping of seeds, it's going to come back on you. So make sure that you're always doing what you know to do, and just continue to walk in that path.
Oh, praise. So we're going to go back to reprobate, those that are predestined to damnation. 1 Peter 2:8 says, and
just got a little interruption, sirens right now. We'll let those pass by.
All right.
All right.
And a stone of stumbling, and a rock of offense, even of them which stumbled at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. So with that just going to say that some people were appointed to be disobedient. Some people were appointed to be wicked. Everybody has their lot. And like I was just telling my son before we started this video, someone has to be the 2/3. God's word will not come back void. I wish everybody can be saved. I pray and hope that I'm one of the ones that's saved. But God's word will not come back void. 2/3 ain't going to make it. 1/3 is going to make it.
And also the book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and verse 4 tells us that Yah has made all things for himself. Yes, even the wicked for the day of evil. So every vessel has a purpose, whether it be for good or whether it be for evil. Every vessel has a purpose.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. You go to the book of Sirach, chapter 38. It's going to go back. It's going to go into that a little bit further. These spirits that are created, because we're all spiritual beings, right? Mm-hmm. So these spirits that are created for destruction. All right. Sirach 39:28. It says, "There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them." So Most High God made these people to do what they're doing. When you see somebody get killed in a drive-by shooting, the Most High God put that spirit on that person to go pull that trigger. So some people are made for destruction, and some people are made for to be saved, right?
Yes, and also every single thing going beyond people, as you just read from the Apocrypha, talking about spirits, it just goes to show you Yah has created something. Yah has created a purpose for every single thing. So just because you don't understand the purpose of something doesn't mean it doesn't have a reasoning behind it. In the book of Jeremiah, when Jeremiah is asking Yah questions about why this and that happens, in the book of in the Apocrypha, when Ezra is talking to Yah, asking Yah questions about why this and that is happening, he flat out tells him, like, who are you to question? Even Job, who are you to question me? Like, are you able to, make flowers grow? Are you able to make the sun and the moon rise and set? Like, these are the things. If you can't even do these basic things, how can you question me about why I make anything happen? So that's why it's important for you to operate in your purpose, so that way you won't allow yourself to fall to these questions, because at the end of the day, they're frivolous questions. We're humans, we're inquisitive, but Yah has a purpose for every single thing. You just need to operate in your purpose and do what you need to do, and everything else will fall into place.
That's right. So that takes us to Isaiah 55:8. Most High God says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." So that goes to just land back on what my son just said. A lot of things that the Most High God does we can't comprehend and understand, because his knowledge is infinite, which means never ending. We're just at the knowledge that we have is like an iceberg.
Yes.
When you're in the ocean, you just only see the tip of the iceberg. But if you go beneath that water, it's way bigger than what we actually see.
Absolutely.
All praises.
All praises.
All right, so then we're going to continue in Lamentations 3:42, it says, we have transgressed and have rebelled. Thou hast not pardoned us. Okay, so even hopefully, I pray, but even when we come back to repent and change our ways, you still have to be punished. The Most High God still has to punish you, right? He's going to punish you. He said he has not pardoned, or he has not forgiven your sins until you come back to repentance and until you change your ways. That's how the Most High God operates. So instead of sitting there in our while we're being punished by the Most High God, instead of sitting there complaining and murmuring and woe is me, change your mind, change your way of thinking, and come back to the Father. So he'll take that strap off of you, because he's going to do it. He's going to do what he said he's going to do. His word will never come by vain. We're the only one. As a matter of fact, we as Israelites are the only people or creations on this earth that's not doing what they were predestined to do.
Not living in our purpose.
Not living in our purpose. Esau doing exactly what he's supposed to do. The Most High God said he will use him as a sword. These other nations doing what they're supposed to do. The animals are doing what they're supposed to do. They fly south. The birds fly south every winter. But we're not doing what we're supposed to do, is be kings and gods and rulers of this earth. And we're supposed to be setting examples to all the other nations on this earth. The world you see that we live in now is a lawless world. God gave us laws. So the world that you see is a world ran by lawless people, because he gave the laws according to Psalms 147:19 to the Israelites. And Matthew 5:17 said we're supposed to be the light to the world. We're not being the light. We're in darkness with the rest of the world. So no light is being shown, and this is the world we get. Pedophiles, rapists, and all sorts of wickedness and evilness running rampant, because we're not taking our position as the rulers and the kings of this earth.
Also, too, it's very important to know, if you study nature, which Yah gave us nature, when Yah created everything in the beginning, he created the trees, the forests, the animals. He created everything around us. In the book of Proverbs, we're told and led to study the ant. So we're supposed to be studying nature. When you look at an animal, like my father just touched on, animals know their purpose. When a bird knows at the same time around, the same time every year, fly south. If you all study nature, when an animal is not able to operate in the purpose that it was created for and not do the things that it knows innately to do, it kills itself. So us as Israelites, as you can see, we have high crime rates, we have high mortality rates, we have high destructive rates, period. And that's because we aren't operating in our purpose. And when you're not operating in your purpose, you become destructive and you become destroyed. So just like an animal who doesn't get it, if a bird can't fly south or a whale can't get to the proper water, it beaches itself to kill itself. That's what we've been doing, because we have not been operating in our true purpose. We've been killing ourselves and killing each other. So once we get back to what our purpose is, then we'll be more fruitful and we'll be able to operate more peacefully amongst one another.
Okay, I want to bring that out. Hosea 13. Like my son just said, I can just read it. Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So like he said, when we're lacking knowledge, the knowledge of who we are, what our traditions are, who our God is, and what God expects of us, because Deuteronomy 10:12 says, what does God expect of you but to walk in his way, to keep the commandments. So if you're not doing these things, you are destroyed. You are destroying yourself.
Yes.
All right. So let's go to Psalms 103. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go to you do that one. All right, Psalms 103:10 says, he has not dealt with us after our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquity. So yeah, we complain about what we're going through. The Most High God brings you high or bring you low. The Most High God make you rich and make you poor. How can the Most High God reward you or give you any blessings if you're going contrary to him? Because Revelation 22:14 said, blessed are those that keep the commandments. So how can God reward you if you're not keeping his commandments? So you're going to stay in a lower state. God brought you down to that lower state. And I noticed that especially in our people, we give the devil too much credit. It ain't the devil that's doing this to us. It's us. Like we had this discussion yesterday, me and my son. It's us that's doing this to us. The devil ain't make you pick up a crack pipe. The devil ain't make you hate your brother. The devil ain't make you go rob nobody. The devil just presents it to you, make it look good to you. But it all starts in your mind. And
we know that this is true when we go back and we read Torah and we look at our ancestors and their journey through the wilderness and their journey from Egypt to the promised land. Everything negative that happened to them wasn't because Satan, Lucifer, the devil was there. It happened because they did not do what they were supposed to do. They didn't want to listen. They wanted to indulge. It was them. They are their own worst enemies, and it's the same thing with us. We are our own worst enemies. Nothing can make us do anything. We can be enticed, tempted, tested. However, you still have the choice to do what is destructive to you, just like you have the choice to do what is uplifting to you.
That's right.
So if you continue to put forth efforts of upliftment, and you continue to put forth efforts of gaining knowledge, and you continue to put forth efforts of righteousness, then you will live a righteous life. But if you put forth efforts of non-righteousness, you will have a non-righteous life. Whatever you plant, whatever you sow, that's the harvest that you will reap. There's nobody else. Lucifer can't come and sow a seed for you and you harvest it. No, you sowed that seed and now you're going to reap it. I'm sorry, Lucifer can't come and sow a seed for you and you harvest it. You are sowing the seed and you are harvesting the seed.
All right.
So we're going to go to Lamentations 3:22?
Yeah, hold on, let me go ahead first.
Right.
And like Deuteronomy 30 and 15, because Most High God always gives you an option. He says, see, I have set before thee this day life and good and death and evil. A lot of the times we are picking that low-hanging fruit, which looks good, which is the evil.
Yes.
God always gives you a choice. It's all up to you which choice you make. Anybody forcing you, don't nobody have a gun to your head making you do evil. We do evil because that's what we choose to do. All right, go ahead.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 22. It is of Yah's mercy that we are not consumed.
Boom.
Because his compassion fails not.
Good.
They are new every morning, and great is his faithfulness.
Boom. So while we sitting here complaining, you woke up this morning, that's the Most High God giving you another chance. He's still dealing with you. Remember, even if you're going through punishment or chastisement, that means he's dealing with you as sons. Because if he wasn't dealing with you, if you were going through this world living wicked and saying you blessed, you got all these worldly things, and you're not keeping the laws, we know who gave that to you. If you go back to the book of Matthew, when the enemy tempted Hamashiach and said, if you bow down and worship me, I will give you all these things. Right? Mm-hmm. We see people who ain't keeping no laws, but they have the abundance of life. They have cars, riches, or whatever. We know they're not worshiping the Most High God. We know they're being, for lack of a better word, blessed by the enemy. So I say all that to say this: if you're being punished, God is dealing with you as his son or as his daughter. If he wasn't dealing with you, he would consider you a bastard. So you wake up in the morning, thank the Most High God, and see which way or how can you be a better person than you was yesterday, and just come out these laws.
And the most important thing too is, oftentimes we look at when people who we feel are not righteous or who are evil or wicked, they're getting, it feels like, or it seems like they're getting blessed. But you have to realize that anything that you do that is not in order, anything that you do that is illicit, and any gains that you get from those things, they do not last. They will not last. So as we can see, every other kingdom that came before the kingdom that is on top of the earth now, yes, they all ruled. Yes, they all had, They all had an abundance, but because it was ill-gotten, eventually they lost it. That's the whole purpose of why we're working to establish a righteous kingdom, because if a kingdom is established righteously, it cannot be overthrown. That's why Yah even tells us, as you study, after Mashiach left, and when our ancestors were taken into captivity, when you study the works of, say, Julius Caesar, he was saying he was able to overtake them because they were in wickedness. So Yah was not protecting them. Now they were not able to be overtaken when they were living righteously, because they had the protection. They had Yah's blessing, Yah's favor. But as soon as they fell out, then they lost everything that they had gained. So it's like that for any nation. If you are living wickedly, and we look at our terms, because our lifespans only average about 69 to 75 years. So we think, oh, it's forever, that, someone's been ruling for 400, 500, 600 years. But that's a blink of an eye to the rest of time, or what we consider the concept of time. Eventually it will fall. Eventually it will. Hence why we were put in place in Torah, because the sins and iniquities of the other nation have finally come to where they were too high. So we were enacting judgment. So that's why we're establishing a righteous kingdom, because in righteousness it cannot be overthrown. If you build your family, your household, your wealth, your riches on righteousness, it cannot be overthrown. It cannot be taken away. It can be challenged, because that's life, but it will always be able to stand and stay strong.
All right, I want to just land back on that, what you were just saying. Proverbs 24:19 says, "Fret not thyself because of evil men, neither be thou envious at the wicked. And there shall be no reward to the evil man. The candle of wicked shall be put out. My son, fear thou the Lord and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change. For their calamity shall rise suddenly, and who knoweth the ruin of them both?" So their calamity shall rise, but who shall know? They're destined for ruin. They're destined for that.
Yes.
So that's why the Most High God says, envy not the wicked. Philippians 2:14.
The book of Philippians, chapter 2, verse 14. "Do all things without murmuring and disputing, that you may be blameless and harmless, the sons of Elohim, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom you shine as lights in the world."
Keep going.
All right.
I like that.
"Holding forth the word of life, that I may rejoice in the day of the Mashiach, that I have not run in vain, neither labored in vain." Keep going. "Yeah, and if I be offended upon the if I be offered upon the sacrifice and service of your faith, I joy and rejoice with you all. For the same cause also do you joy and rejoice with me. But I trust in the Master Yahushua to send Timothy shortly unto you, that I also may be of good comfort when I know your state." Keep going.
That's good. All praise. So, and then I'm going to add Proverbs 3:11. It says, "My son, despise not the chastening of the Most High, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he corrects." Like we were just saying. If the Most High God is not correcting you, he ain't dealing with you. You're a bastard to him. Right? "For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth. Even as a father, the son in whom he delighteth. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold." So again, when we go through things, the Most High God corrects us. He hates murmuring. Turn that mirror on yourself. Examine yourself. See what you can do to be a better person, and walk in the light. Walk in God's commandments. Because He's dealing with you. He loves you if he taking the time out to correct you. That's what a father does to the son that he loves. He's going to correct that child. And Romans 12:1 says, beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present yourselves a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed with the renewing of your mind. Mm-hmm. So we have to transform ourselves, renew our minds. The old way of thinking, put away that old conversation, that old way of thinking. If you get punished by the Most High God, that means the way that you're thinking, your thought process is off. Mm-hmm. So we got to change that. Get this Bible, 2 Timothy 2:15, study to show yourself approved. Because, bring it out, 2 Timothy 2:15. I want to read the whole can. 2 Timothy 2:15.
And also, while we're pulling this out, what we have to do is, in this current world that we are living in, I think one of the most detrimental things that has been given to us is that resistance, challenge, or anything that makes you feel uncomfortable is inherently bad, or it is not good. When in fact it's the opposite. Whenever you are going through any type of resistance, that is what makes you stronger. So for those of us who have played sports, we know that we didn't get better at that sport. We didn't get bigger, faster, stronger sitting at home. We got bigger, faster, stronger by lifting weights, which is resistance. We got bigger, faster, stronger by running past the point at which we thought we could run. We got bigger, faster, stronger by the different things that our coaches put us through. And those that are more academically inclined, we didn't get the knowledge that we had because we sat around and watched cartoons all day. No, when we were in school, our teachers gave us problems, tons of problems to work our mind. Now, our coaches and teachers, they didn't do these things because they didn't like us or they hated us or it was for punishment. No, it was to make you better. So we put ourselves in that same mindset that, okay, I'm doing this homework to make me a better student in this subject, or I'm doing these laps and lifting these weights to make me a better football, basketball, baseball, soccer player. If we put that same thought process on what we're going through in life, okay, I'm going through these things because I'm trying to be the highest version of myself. God wants me to be the brightest light that He can shine. That's why He's putting me through these things. Change your mindset on how things are, and you'll change your ability to be able to get through them. Because y'all has already given us the victory to do them. We just have to go through it.
You just have to go through it. And that reminds me of 1 Peter 4:12. It says, beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange things has happened unto you. You're not the only one that's going through trial and tribulation in life. We're all going through it. But the thing is, are you going to fold up or are you going to stand? Are you going to turn the ashes in this fire, or are you going to come out shining as gold on the other side of this, right? But rejoice inasmuch as ye are partakers of Christ's suffering. Christ suffered, we're going to suffer. Is the servant greater than his master, right? Partakers with Christ's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. If ye be reproached for the name of Christ, happy are ye, for the Spirit of glory and the Spirit and the glory of God rest upon you. On their part he is evil spoken of, but of your part he is glorified. So regardless, whatever we go through, just like Job didn't speak evil of the Most High God, even though he was going through. His wife told him, "Oh, are you going to curse your God?" He went through everything he had to go through, and he never cursed the Father. We have to go through what we have to go through. We shall never murmur. We shall never complain. We got to take that, correct ourselves, and that's, like my son just said, that is what's going to make us stronger, because the Most High God is going to try you. We're all going to be tried in this walk. Even if you're not in this walk, every soul is going to be tried. Go ahead, you got something?
Yes. I'm going to go to the book of Sirach in the Apocrypha and read something really quick. Okay. So the book of Sirach, chapter 4. Now, what this is talking about is the things that we go through and how wisdom puts us through these things for a specific purpose. It says, so I'm going to start at verse 14. They that serve her shall minister to the Holy One, and them that love her, Yah does love. So we're talking about wisdom. So you're serving wisdom, she's going to serve you, and if you love wisdom, Yah's going to love you. Whoever gives ear unto her shall judge the nations, and he that attained unto her shall dwell securely. Talking about wisdom. If a man commit himself unto her, he shall inherit her, and his generation shall hold her in possession. For at the first she will walk with him by crooked ways, and bring fear and dread upon him, and torment him with her discipline, until she may trust his soul and try him by her laws. So wisdom is going to try you and test you. You go through the things you're going through to gain the trust of wisdom. Wisdom is the thing that keeps your generations, the seeds that come after you, from falling into destruction. So she wants to see, can you handle it? So I'm going to try you in these things to see if you can handle the test and if you deserve what I have to give you. Then, after she takes you through all your trials and tribulations, it says, then will she return the straight way unto him and comfort him and show him her secrets. But if he goes wrong, she will forsake him and give him over to his own ruin. So if you're going through things and wisdom is trying you and testing you, and you say, you know what, I give up, guess what? She's going to let you fall to your own destruction. But if you continue to push forward, persevere, overcome, endure, then wisdom will come back to you and give you all of her knowledge. So it's just like I said, we go back to sports. It gets hard. When you first start playing football, you probably got ran over if you played defense. You probably got sacked as a quarterback. Probably got your head knocked off as a wide receiver. You probably got juked and crossed as a cornerback or a safety. And that probably happened many times. But then eventually you continue to stay with it. And you got better, and you got better, and you got better. And then eventually you became a master of the game. That was wisdom coming back to you, giving you her knowledge and comforting you. Now, had you given up, then destruction happened. So had you given up in a game of football, let's just say your parents didn't have it. That was your way to take yourself out of a negative situation. Now you give up. Now you turn to negative situations. And now you put yourself in a position where instead of getting out of a negative environment, now you end up in prison or something like that. That was you falling to your ruin. So that's why it's important to always persevere through any form of adversity, because once you do, you will always have a reward at the end. What's that? Matthew 24:13 says, he that endureth unto the end, him shall be saved. That applies to life, period. Yeah. He that endures through all adversity and temptation, at the end of that adversity and temptation, he will be saved from it. And he will be saved from his destruction, and he'll be given a crown of life, or a crown of righteousness, or a crown of prosperity in some way, shape, or form.
All right. So we're going to end it with give me Matthew 26:6. I'm going to end it with 1 Corinthians 10:10. It says, neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer. Now all these things happen unto them for examples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. So the examples, God don't leave you an example to the people that murmur, or those who complain against their chastening. Most like God, they just complain about life. Most like God destroyed them, like my son just read. They were destroyed. So instead of murmuring or instead of complaining, because God hates complainers, turn that mirror on yourself, examine yourself, and then get back in this race. Because if you fall, the race still going.
And even even further, if you got a question about something, go ask. Yahushua told us, if you go to the Father and ask, whatever you ask of it shall be given. Mm-hmm. So if you're like, how do I get over this, or I got a question about something, we want to try to do it all ourselves. Yes, it is up to you to fix your problem. But if someone has the answer, I'm going to go to the person with the answer. So go to Yah, what is it that's holding me back? Or Yah, if you know it's holding you back, y'all, how do I overcome this that's holding me back? And he'll give you the answer every time.
And that's why you're supposed to surround yourself with like-minded people. Deuteronomy 32:7 says, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Ask thy elders, and they will tell thee. Proverbs 11:14, where there's no counsel, the people perish.
Yes.
So you can't be around straight people or people in this world and expect to get spiritual knowledge. It don't work that way. You have to surround yourself with spiritual-minded people, kingdom-minded people. Go ahead.
All right, we're going to finish up the book of Matthew, chapter 26, starting at verse 1. And it came to pass when Yahushua had finished all things saying, he said unto his disciple, ye know that after 2 days in the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. Then assembled together the chief priests and the scribes and the elders of the people unto the palace of the high priest, who was called, what's that? Caiaphas.
26:6.
Oh, you want me to start at 26:6? Okay.
Yeah.
Now when Yahushua was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, why trouble you this woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For you have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on her body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, whosoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this be that this woman hath done, be told for a memorial of her.
All praise. So yeah, every time we bring out this word, we have to bring out the memorial of this woman. So with that being said, all praise to the Most High God for giving us the spirit and the strength and the courage to bring forth his word today. All praise go to the Father. We get no glory. All glory goes to the Father. Why do we complain when we're being punished? Turn that into and see how you can change yourself and renew your mind to come back to the Father and serve and worship him. Shalom.
Shalom.
They're crazy.
Temptation, that's all I see surrounding me. The devil steady hounding me, but I would never serve the beast. Yahudim, faithful servant of the king, a chosen seed. I promise to forever give a sting. This pound so tight I can't move to the left or right, but I'm a soldier, I won't back down, I stand and fight. Sacrifice, pain and strife, affliction, sum it up to get perfection. Always moving with discretion, I'm a soldier, man. Skill that war, that's wisdom, I use it for this path I walk. It's called the road, let's travel. Gird up, it's time for battle. Cut my hands steady, heart pure, to the end I will endure. Squad up, you know I'm ready, I'm sharp as a machete, man.